What's going on, guys? Today I'm coming to you with a theory, and I want to warn you this one is a little bit far-fetched, but if you don't buy into it, hopefully at least you'll find it entertaining. So bear with me because we've got a little bit of a stretch, but if it's true, I just want it to be known that I called it first. So here's it's a theory with Ruhk. So if you're not familiar with Ruhk is a character from Heir to the Empire, Timothy Zahn's original trilogy. These guys were the Nogri, and they were basically like assassins, kind of that Thrawn ended up using, and Ruhk was like the number one dude, right? His chief assassin, and Ruhk is showing up in this week's episode of Star Wars Rebels. This was in the trailer. Warwick Davis is actually voicing him, so it's kind of a big deal. And I actually am doing a review for both of this week's episodes of Star Wars Rebels. I'm not talking about them in this video, though, so make sure you check that one out, too. But basically, this whole deal with Ruhk is it's pretty cool because he was such a, the Nogri, the whole race becoming recanonized is a big deal. But it gave me some theories. So, again, I'm totally putting it out there that this is a little bit of a stretch. So here is my theory, and the theory is not really going to have any spoilers for the episode. The theory is all prediction and trying to piece some things together. So the way the theory goes is this: I'm predicting that as season 4 progresses, that Ruhk is going to fail to kill all the rebels. Right? I'm predicting he's going to fail in whatever his mission may end up being, and that he's going to get hurt. My prediction is that he's going to get hurt pretty badly, that he's completely incapacitated. Maybe he'll lose a limb, which, we've got some Jedi with lightsabers. It's very possible he could lose limbs, multiple limbs. But I think his body will become so mangled that hardly anything will remain of him. That's the first part. It's a little bit of a leap, but that's not too bizarre, right? If that happens, I predict his brain will be intact. His mind will still be there. And I think Thrawn's relationship with him, while it's ambiguous at this point, it was more clear in the EU, in Legends, but in the new canon, we don't know specifically how Thrawn feels about this guy, how loyal he is to Thrawn. We don't know a lot of details there. But assuming that Thrawn really cares about these guys, about this guy in particular, the idea is that Thrawn will want to save him. And one way to save him, if his body is destroyed but his mind is still there, might be to make him into a droid. But then there may be limits on what he could do. And I think Thrawn, if you're familiar with what's going on with Thrawn is pretty much loyal to his people first and foremost. And he wants intel. He's not quite as loyal to the Empire as he is to his own agenda. And so Thrawn is going to want information. If this guy works directly for Thrawn and isn't necessarily an Imperial, Thrawn's going to want to keep this guy as a source of information, as well as somebody he can depend upon. So basically, my idea is that Thrawn will either get somebody, maybe an Imperial who has been hurt, who's had a head wound, maybe an Imperial who is brain dead, or just a regular Imperial, or maybe not even an Imperial, maybe just some traitor or something, somebody low key to basically, and here's where the stretch begins, to volunteer to become Ruhk's new body. So the idea here is that this is kind of all Thrawn's master plan. And he wants to keep his henchmen alive. He's going to get a new body. We're kind of and again, this is the stretch, but if you can get past this part, the rest is going to fall into place. So Thrawn's basically going to have some surgeon, right, play Frankenstein with Ruhk's brain. I understand that that's a stretch. Now let's move forward. So let's say the surgery goes a success. Ruhk has a new body. So what is he going to do with this new character? The idea in my mind is that he's going to want to still use him, but if he's got he may not be as physically strong of a body. He may not be able to still be the same assassin that he was before, but maybe he can still be used for intel purposes, gathering intelligence. So maybe he can become some type of double agent. So he would need a new identity. And if he needs a new identity, then, and if he's going to be, gather intel on like the Empire, for example, work from within for a little bit, then maybe go elsewhere. He would need a new name. And I'm thinking, what would you call somebody who was Ruhk but has a new body? You need a new body for Ruhk, right? You need a new body for Ruhk. Can we think of anybody that is called a new body for Ruhk? How about Bodhi Ruhk? Oh my gosh, Bodhi Ruhk becomes Bodhi Ruhk. Okay, now there's a couple of reasons that again, so it's a stretch, but this is the same time frame, right? It's the same time frame we've already had. It's like right around the same time frame. This is what, like, we're like a year before Rogue One right now. So if Ruhk gets hurt, perfect amount of time to get this guy in. Okay. First off, Thrawn's got all the intel. So if Bodhi Ruhk is actually working for Thrawn and he's got the brain of a Nogri inside his head, he might have had some scarring around his head. But Bodhi Rook's always wearing, he's got the long hair covering the back, and he's always wearing that stupid thing in his front, right? Those little safety goggles. Why is he wearing safety goggles covering up the scar? Maybe. That was not a real key point here. But look, wouldn't Thrawn want to have somebody who's feeding him information from inside the Empire who can also feed him information on the rebellion? Okay. So I mean, there's logic in this. Bodhi Rook says he was sent by Galen Erso, right? We never get confirmation that Galen Erso, because Galen, spoilers for Rogue One, but Galen doesn't make it. So we don't get Galen to be like, oh, thank gosh, Bodhi Rook finally got there. I did send Bodhi Rook. Galen was surprised, right up here. So maybe he didn't send Bodhi Rook, right? Maybe he sent somebody else. Maybe he didn't send anybody at all. Maybe Thrawn just managed to extract the information that was required. Maybe the holo was a fake, or maybe Galen did send a message. Either way, however it went down, it doesn't preclude the possibility that Bodhi Rook was actually working for Thrawn the whole time, because if you know Thrawn wouldn't be okay with the Death Star. And this has been one of my theories the whole time, is that Thrawn is not okay with a weapon that can destroy his home planet, especially being held in the hands of somebody as reckless as the Emperor. Thrawn's not a fan of the Emperor. And so, he likes the order that the Empire represents, but part of it's like, well, there'll be another emperor someday, like that's his whole idea, and then once he starts to realize, well, look at the damage this guy's going to do, maybe I need to do something. So Thrawn would not be okay with the Death Star. So if he had a chance for his inside guy to get information to the rebels, of course he would take that, because for one, that helps somebody else take out the Death Star, so Thrawn doesn't have to get his hands dirty. For two, it gives him intel on the rebels. Where's their base? Gives him intel on Saw Gerrera, who is even worse than the rebels. Thrawn would have a huge problem with the partisans. He would really, at least, I think Thrawn might have some degree of respect for Mon Mothma and the fact that she's running the rebels in as a civilized government rather than a terrorist organization, and that's really what separates them. But Thrawn would definitely have a problem with Saw Gerrera. And that's another thing. Why wouldn't Bodhi Rook have, tried to find the rebellion? Why would he have gone straight to Saw Gerrera, the worst person and the least capable person to blow up the Death Star? The rebellion is way more organized than this dude. It's like, hey, I need to blow up the moon. Do I seek out the United States? Or do I go find Al-Qaeda in a cave, right? Obviously, you're going to go towards whoever's the most capable. So if he went straight to Saw Gerrera, that's just more suspect that he was working for Thrawn all along. And also, the Borgullet. He resists the Borgullet. So, and this is just a thing that kind of bugged me the whole time when I was watching Rogue One, that now it finally fits together. Saw Gerrera says that it tends to destroy one's mind. Basically it destroys everybody's mind. But it doesn't destroy his mind. Could it be because his mind wasn't human to begin with? His mind was a Nogri, which was way more, totally different. And that's also why the Borgullet didn't extract any information. There was no resolution to this scene. When you're watching this scene, there's no resolution other than he's just sitting in the thing afterwards and he's a little dazed. But nowhere near to the way they expressed it, like, oh, the Borgullet's going to totally destroy your mind. You're going to be, basically a vegetable afterwards. That wasn't what happened. So that's the theory, is that Rook's brain gets put into another Imperial, and then Thrawn puts this new Imperial to work, and I'm guessing nobody else really knows. And wouldn't that be something? So Rook gets a new body. It's Body Rook. What do you think? Do you think it's too much, or is it? And if you do think it's too much, is it at least entertaining? Is it at least conversation worthy? That's kind of what I'm going for. Hopefully, I didn't mislead you too much, because I did tell you it's kind of a far-fetched theory, but something like that. But if it turns out to be true, wouldn't that be awesome? I think it would be awesome, and I'm just saying, like, I called it, that. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Stay tuned. I'm gonna do my my episodes, my this week's episodes reviews. We got another 2 episodes, so it seems to be the trend. They're gonna be doing 2 episodes of Rebels, so I'm gonna be talking about this and the next episode. So stay tuned for that. I'll be getting that out shortly. But thank you guys so much for watching. Check out, I've got some contests going on Crabbok.com right now. We're having a painting contest where you can win a core set for Star Wars Legion, a new miniatures game that's coming out next year. And so that one's really, really cool. I'm also going to be doing a door prize for that. And it basically... I'm going to be doing another giveaway where anybody who is subscribed has a chance to win. But if you enter into the contest, you get additional chances to win. So stay tuned. I'll be announcing for details for that later on this week. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, give a thumbs up, leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Is it too far-fetched? Is it at least entertaining worthy? Or do you think I am actually onto something? And if you haven't already, please subscribe. Click the little bell for alerts so you don't miss out anything, especially when I announce contest winners. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a great day.